This is the only video you'll ever need to build stunning websites, because in this video, I'm going to share the 7-step process that taught me how to build websites like this, and this. Before we get started, if you're new here, I'm Addy and this is episode 10 of a series where I'm challenging myself to build a tech startup from scratch and document everything on this channel. And in this episode, I'm sharing the system and every resource that I came across when trying to figure out how to build a great website for my business. To start off, go to mobbin.com, dribbble.com or pinterest.com. and start searching for landing pages, e-commerce pages, or any type of UI that your website will showcase. You can also go to popular websites like apple.com or shopify.com and study their UI. Every time you find something that you like, take a screenshot and add it to a whiteboard. Repeat this step 10 to 20 more times until you've created a mood board to serve as a visual reference for the vibe you're trying to mimic. Having this collection before you proceed any further is crucial because it gives you a clear target for what your website should look like when you're done. Once you have your design inspiration, it's time to start reverse engineering every element you see on popular websites. Let's start with typography, which is the foundation of any great website. Go to fonts.google.com and start browsing fonts until you find one that resonates with your design goals. If you're struggling to choose one, look at websites you admire and try to find a similar font on Google Fonts. One neat trick to figure out what font a website is using is to open your browser's inspector tools and click on a text element on screen. From there, search for font family under the Styles tab and you can see the exact font that they're using. Oh, and here's another pro tip that I learned. Don't just pick any font that looks nice. Choose one that matches the personality of your brand and the type of website you're trying to build. A playful website might use rounded fonts like Comforta or Quicksand, while a financial service might use something more serious like Roboto or Montserrat. But once you've selected a font, the next step is to create a type scale. A type scale is a set of predefined font sizes that your website will use, and each size is calculated based on a specific ratio so that every piece of text on your website has visual balance and hierarchy. To create your type scale, head over to precisetype.com and select your chosen Google font. Next, tweak the base font size, line height, as well as the scale and line grid until you have a type scale that you're happy with. From there, download the type scale as either a CSV or CSS file, which you can then directly embed into your project. Oh, and if you're not sure you understand any of the values you just changed, check out this really good article on baseline.is, which covers everything from the history of typescales to best practices when creating them. Now that you've got your typography sorted out, let's talk about color palettes. A color palette is simply a collection of colors that you'll use consistently throughout your website. It typically includes a primary, a secondary, and accent colors, along with some neutral tones. And a cohesive color palette is what separates amateur websites from professional ones. To find a color palette for your website, head over to colors.co and click on Explore Trending Palettes to browse palettes created by top designers. If you already have a brand color or theme in mind, you can also use the search bar at the top to filter the results. When browsing palettes, I recommend choosing one with 5 colors to keep things simple. A background color, a foreground color, a brand color, and a light and dark accent color. But once you find a palette that catches your eye, head on over to colormine.io and modify the hex codes at the top to match the ones from your color palette. After doing that, you can scroll down to see what your color palette actually looks like on an actual website. If you're not happy with what you see, choose a different palette or slightly tweak the brightness and saturation values of the palette you just chose. And after all of this, if you're still struggling and really don't understand how to choose colors that complement one another, I highly recommend checking out this video that covers a semester's worth of color theory in just 6 minutes. Before we continue any further, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever been blocked from a website because of your location, tried to manage multiple accounts online, or faced IP bans when browsing the web? Because if you have, then the sponsor of today's video is perfect for you. Floppy Data is a powerful service that offers proxies designed to make online activity secure, seamless, and accessible from anywhere in the world. And in most cases, proxies can solve these problems a lot better than VPNs. Whether you need proxies for secure browsing, automation, or large-scale data collection, Floppy Data has you covered. Their service lets you choose proxies from over 195 locations worldwide and includes residential, mobile, and data center proxies. They also have rotating or static proxies, which are perfect for web scraping, managing multiple accounts, or any automation task. And most importantly, their service protects your data and makes sure you stay anonymous while browsing the web. And the best part about floppy data is that it's also really affordable because pricing starts just at 90 cents per gigabyte of proxy traffic. I highly recommend floppy data as an affordable, fast, and reliable proxy solution for all of your proxy needs. So if you'd like to check it out, I'll leave a few links in the description down below. Alright, we sorted out typography and color palettes, which means that we can move on to icons. Icons are small visual elements that seem really subtle, but make a huge difference in a website's usability and aesthetics. Now you could create your own icons using tools like Figma or Adobe Illustrator, or you could hire someone on Fiverr or Upwork to design a custom icon pack for you. But honestly, both of those options are time consuming and pretty expensive. Instead, I recommend using Lucid. Lucid is an incredible library of over 1,500 beautifully crafted open source icons that you can use for free in your projects. And what I love about Lucid is how easy it is to customize and integrate into your website. If you head over to the Get Started guide, you'll find clear installation instructions for any type of web project, and also find instructions on how to customize the size, thickness, and color to match your website's aesthetic. But if for some reason you don't like the icons on Lucid, there are other great free resources out there like React Icons, Glyphs.fyi, Radix UI Icons, or Iconate.com. Each has its own unique style, so you can choose what best matches your brand's personality. With icons out of the way, the next thing any great website needs is a component library. A component is essentially a piece of reusable UI that behaves in a certain way when interacted with. This is a button component, this is a file upload component, and this is a drop-down menu component. The bad news is that when building a website, you're gonna need a pretty large set of components. And if you decide to build this library from scratch, it's going to be really time consuming, error prone, and likely to lead to visual inconsistencies. The good news is that you don't have to build this yourself, thanks to open source component libraries. Now with open source libraries, there are two main approaches you can take. The first option is to use libraries like Chakra UI, Material UI, Mantine UI, and Hero UI. These libraries provide ready-made components with predefined styles, which are great for getting started quickly and building small web applications. They're also opinionated, meaning they've already decided what your component should look like and give you very little flexibility to change their style or behavior. Also, when you install an opinionated library, you're very likely downloading their entire component set even if you only need a few of them. And there's always the risk of becoming dependent on a third-party vendor that might eventually stop supporting the library entirely. The alternative is to use non-opinionated libraries like ShadCN or Radix UI. These might look similar to opinionated libraries at first glance, but there's a big difference, which is that instead of installing the entire library, you simply copy the source code for each component you need and paste it into your project. And from there, you're free to style the component and change its behavior however you like. But of course, the downside of doing this is that there's a bit more setup involved because you need to manually install and configure each component. But the flexibility and independence you gain are well worth it, especially for projects where you want total control over the components. Now, it really doesn't matter which option you choose. What matters is the type of application you're building and whether or not you want an out-of-box solution. But irrespective of which type of library you choose, it's going to be a huge time saver in comparison to building all of your components from scratch. Once you've got your component library sorted out, the next thing to do is to create layout components. So if your component library's job is to create reusable pieces of UI that you can use across your application, a layout component's job is to place those UI components onto your website in a way that maintains consistent spacing and visual balance. And in my opinion, there are 4 key layout components that every great web application needs. The first one is a page layout component, and all it does is add padding around your entire viewport to make sure that none of your UI components stick to the sides of your websites. The second is a box, and it basically adds padding around each UI component so that they don't stick to one another. The third is a stack, and it's responsible for stacking a series of UI components in a single row or column that responds to different screen sizes. The fourth and final one is a grid, And as the name suggests, it stacks a series of UI components into rows and columns. By using these 4 layout components in different combinations, you can pretty much create any layout that you see across the web. Now you can build these components yourself, but I found that using AI assistants like Claude, ChatGPT, or GitHub Copilot is a lot faster. To start off, open a new chat with your AI assistant of choice. From there, describe the layout component you're trying to create, along with the tech stack you're using for your front end. Within seconds, your assistant will give you a code snippet that you can then copy into your code base. I also take this one step further and ask Claude to generate a component that showcases the capabilities of the layout component by testing different screen sizes and edge cases. And if you render your showcase component on screen, you can see your layout component in action. Now at first glance, these layout components might not really seem as exciting as fancy buttons or drop-down menus, but trust me, you're gonna struggle if you try to build your website without them. At this point, you've got everything you need to build a pretty solid website. But if you want to take your website from good to stunning, there's one more crucial element that's missing, and that's animations. Subtle animations can completely transform the user experience of your website. They keep users engaged, provide visual feedback, and make your interface feel alive and responsive. Now you could use CSS keyframe animations to handle this, but that gets complicated quickly for anything beyond basic transitions. Instead, I recommend using an animation library like Motion. Motion is an incredible animation library with React support that makes it super easy to add smooth, professional animations to your components. And the best part is that the basics are incredibly intuitive and easy to learn. Let's say you have a piece of hero text on your website that you want to animate when the page loads. To do that, all you need to do is convert this div into a motion div and describe the properties you'd like to animate, like the opacity and Y position. Specify a transition duration of 0.7 seconds, and now when you re-render your hero text, you can see the animation in action. This example is pretty simple, but you can build on top of it to do some pretty complicated stuff. But if for some reason Motion isn't your cup of tea, then there are other great animation libraries out there, like React Spring, Anime.js, or AutoAnimate. They each have their own approach and syntax, but I found Motion to be the most intuitive for React projects. Now once you follow these 7 steps, you've basically got all the fundamental building blocks to build a stunning website. But what's left is for you to let your creativity run wild and put all these building blocks together to create a website. And that's something that you'll need to experiment with on your own. But to show you that this system works, these are the designs that I came up with before following the advice that I shared in this video. You can see that the colors are off, there's no consistency in font sizes, and all the components are custom designed and lack cohesion, and there's just way too much going on. Even worse, when I began coding this website, every step was a struggle. But when I took a step back and followed this 7-step framework, I was able to transform my website into this. Like and subscribe if you found this video useful. Thanks for watching.